5 months ago, I made a video covering the worst Iridescent add-ons in the game. So how about the reverse? What about those Iridescent add-ons that are extremely good, to the point of sometimes being the best add-ons of those killers by far? Well, let's take a look at the best Iridescent add-ons that are deserving of their status. And let's start the video strong. Just like these add-ons allow you to get a massive advantage in the early game, because some of the greatest Iridescent add-ons all work in the same way. I'm talking about the Iridescent Uroboros Vial for Wesker, the Denied Requisition form for Singularity, and the Captured by the Dark for the Unknown. All of these add-ons allow you to start the match with your power pre-applied, and sometimes they even come with extra bonuses. These add-ons are so strong because they help during the early game, which is the moment where the majority of killers are at their weakest. With these add-ons equipped, you can immediately start the match by applying insane pressure from the start, so if you know what you're doing, it makes the game heavily sided in your favor. However, that's also their weakness, because if you still suck at the killer, these add-ons will not help you that much, and if you waste their effects early, it means you have one add-on less for the rest of the match. If I had to choose one as the best one, it has to be Wesker's Uroboros add-on, as it forces survivor to waste one charge of the healing spray in the early game, revealing their location when they do so, and it comes with the bonus of making any survivor that becomes fully infected exposed for 30 seconds, even if they spray themselves. This is an incredibly strong effect in the early game, and it is the only add-on of this type that works in the late game too, as it will make survivors run out of sprays earlier in the match, since their use is limited. The second strongest add-on of this category, in my opinion, is Singularity's Denied Requisition form, simply because it makes an already strong killer into an insane powerhouse. First of all, it makes all survivors start slipstreamed, and with your auto-aim teleport power, you can just shoot at a survivor and start chasing super early into the match. But what makes this so powerful is that it also increases the cooldown of all EMP printers in the match to be longer in the early game. By default, it takes 97 seconds to print an EMP, with the last 3 seconds having to be manual. With this add-on, it takes 127 seconds instead, so survivors have no answer for 2 entire minutes in the beginning of the match, allowing you to absolutely demolish early chases. And the last one that is really good is the Unknown's Captured by the Dark, which makes all survivors weakened from the start. With some information perks, you can even get a double hit with an UVX snipe, while 2 survivors start repairing a generator. This is also a double effect, as for each survivor weakened, you place your clones faster, allowing you to have all clones very early in the match for added pressure. However, this add-on comes with the penalty of having one less total clone, going from 4 to only 3, and unlike with Singularity or Wesker, you can miss your attack, rendering this add-on useless. There are 2 more Iridescent add-ons that I would consider to be in the same category as these ones, and those are the Expired Batteries for School Merchant and Videotape for Pig. In the case of School Merchant, Expired Batteries is one of the best add-ons she has, as it gives a lethal pursuer that nobody can counter, makes any claw trap add-ons available from the start, and also increases the duration of all claw traps. However, Schooly is such a bad character now that this add-on is nothing game-breaking. Pig's add-on, on the other hand, makes all survivors start the match with the reverse bear traps pre-applied, which can be great in certain maps, with certain builds, against certain survivors. However, it removes the ability to put the traps later in the match, which can hurt your overall slowdown. For that reason, I think these 2 Iridescent add-ons are not on the same level as the previous 3. So all of those add-ons helped in the early game. But how about an add-on that helps throughout the entire match and completely fixes one of the flaws a killer's base design has? That is the Iridescent Button for the Legion, one of the strongest add-ons that saves the Legion so much time and makes vaulting pallets during a chase into something viable. One of the weaknesses of the Legion are pallets, as survivors can just throw them down and you will have to deal with them later, since most of the times you can vault them with your power and continue chasing survivors. This add-on completely fixes that, and anytime you vault a pallet, it breaks. This makes the add-on fantastic for endgame Legion builds, as you can chase survivors and also prepare dead zones on the map for the future. The best part is that, unlike a lot of Iridescent add-ons, it comes with no downside whatsoever, as it doesn't shorten your Feral Frenzy duration, decrease the launch range, or make your detection smaller. All you need to do is use your power like normal, but you get insane gains as part of the collateral usage of it. Remember how Sadako had one of the worst Iridescent add-ons in the game? Well, her other Iridescent add-on is the contrary, with remote control being one of the most valuable add-ons in the game. This add-on will reveal the aura of any survivors within 12 meters of a power TV for 7 seconds. This means that any survivor that is hit by your condemned radius will be revealed, so you can keep teleporting in order to gain stacks on them, and then teleport when they are about to take a tape. This will also reveal survivors that want to place a tape on a TV, giving you the opportunity to interrupt them. Since TVs usually spawn new generators, which is where survivors will be most of the time, this add-on provides incredibly useful information at absolutely zero cost, and you don't have to do anything special for it, just use your power, with no downsides. You can also combine this add-on with the fingernail one, that gives you a speed boost when you leave a TV, allowing you to get some nasty hits on survivors that would not expect it, or combine it with the videotape copy and in an indoors map like Midwich to get the easiest condemned kills in your life, shooting her straight into the S tier. Since Sadako depends a lot on macro gameplay, remote control helps her a lot, and this is in my opinion one of the two killers that are on the weaker side, but become much stronger with an Iridescent add-on. The other killer that suffers with this condition, but much worse, is the Trapper, who is not the weakest killer in the game because Skull Merchant exists, and also because this add-on exists, and every single Trapper main will use it as base kit. It is also the individual add-on I have used the most out of all of them in the game, if we had a tracker for it. Iridescent Stone fixes the biggest problem the Trapper has, time management. Instead of having to reset traps manually, every 30 seconds a random trap will open, letting you focus fully on the chases after making your early game setup. This add-on is incredibly strong, as it comes with many benefits. Sometimes, it can even grant you an early down because a random trap opened without you even picking it up, and other times, a survivor might loop tightly once they know they closed a trap, only to end up getting caught on it since it reopened. It legitimately makes Trapper go from D tier to B tier for how good it is. And if there is one add-on that might be needed as part of the base kit of a killer, my choice would go for Iridescent Stone. And another category of add-ons that I think are deserving of being here are all the power improvement Iridescent add-ons that simply make a killer stronger by increasing the numbers of their powers instead of adding cool effects. And these are especially lethal when they are used on already strong killers, like the Nurse, the Hillbilly, and the Spirit. Iridescent Engravings makes Hillbilly go faster than a Formula 1 car at the cost of making you charge your chainsaw a bit slower. This add-on is a must-use for any Hillbilly professional, as it makes map mobility much faster and it makes some loops very unsafe only with this add-on. It's funny how this add-on was a green add-on in the past. However, this add-on doesn't make the gameplay for itself, as you need to be good in order to take advantage of the curving abilities the engravings give you, which is why this is the weakest in its category. The Nurse is already one of the strongest killers in the game, so how about an add-on that makes her have 3 blinks instead of 2? Torn Bookmark is exactly that, and while it does come with the penalty of making the recharge of each blink longer, you don't have to actually use all 3 blinks. You can just blink normally, condition survivors into thinking that you don't have this add-on, and then when they do not expect it, use the 3rd blink to correct your mistake. That's what makes this add-on so incredibly strong and an already incredibly strong character, as it basically deletes any sort of counterplay from the survivor side. Mother-Daughter Ring is a name that will scare a lot of survivors already, and luckily it's got a big nerf, so it's not as absurd as it was in the past. The problem is that the original was so crazy good that even the nerfed version is still one of the best add-ons for the Spirit. Mother-Daughter Ring will give you a 25% increase in the speed during phasing, helping you in catch-up mobility and also in mind gaming survivors. It comes with the downside of not seeing scratch marks. However, this is only a downside for people with accessibility issues, as everyone else uses the footstep sounds and pain noises for survivors. And now, before we go to what I consider the most absurd Iridescent add-on of today, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Mint Rag for Hag is pretty unique and powerful, but it requires micro gameplay, so it's not as brain dead as it seems like. Bloody Coil for the Trapper is really strong, but it can be countered by good survivors that know how it works. Iridescent Blight Tag is also really strong, but the penalty of having 2 less rushes can affect newer players. Iridescent Coin for Deathslinger is a fantastic add-on for Deathslinger himself, but compared to the other Iridescent add-ons, it's really mediocre, can be countered by body blocking, and actually requires skill to get value. And finally, Yamori's Mask would have been the number 1 on this video had I made it earlier, as it's not as absurdly game-breaking as it was before the nerf. So, from what you might have noticed, Iridescent add-ons are mostly balanced nowadays, thanks to the various nerfs they have received over the years, or even complete reworks like in the case of Compound 33. But there is still one set of Iridescent add-ons that are incredibly busted, to the point of making that killer miles better than they are by default, with basically no downsides, and most importantly, with barely anyone complaining about them because of how rare the killer is. And that killer is the Plague, with both Black Incense and Iridescent Seal. What do these two add-ons have in common? That they give insane value for basically just doing your job. The Plague is a really strong character, and the only reason she is not S tier is because there are various things that keep her in check. The first one is the fact that survivors can deny your power by staying infected and not cleansing, and the other is that some smart survivors might want to cleanse in faraway places, making you lose a lot of time after going for a fountain that is very far away from the action. Well, both of these add-ons completely counter these tactics. Black Incense will reveal the aura of any survivors that puke for 3 seconds, globally. This means that since survivors won't cleanse most of the time, you will be able to see them every time they puke, combo these with Lethal Pursuer, and you can see where all infected survivors are at basically all times. It is by far one of the best aura reading add-ons in the entire game, and it burns out distortion stacks really fast. And then we have what I personally think is the only game-breaking Iridescent add-on currently in the game, and that is Iridescent Seal. This add-on will give you Corrupt Purge anytime a generator is repaired at the cost of making it last 20 seconds less. So, combined with Deadlock and the add-on to remove the downside from the Iridescent and against inefficient survivors, you're basically guaranteed to have 5 minutes of Corrupt Purge in every single match. So you get one of the strongest powers in the game for absolutely free, punishing survivors from doing their objective. Imagine if there was an add-on that gave the Oni Blood Fury when a generator is repaired. That's literally what this add-on for Plague does. Are you in a chase and someone popped a gen? Suddenly the survivor you were chasing is dead. Proxy camping a survivor and there are no fountains nearby? Well, now that the generator was popped, you can use your attack which penetrates survivors in order to confirm a trade. And there is no winning for survivors. If they stay injured, now they are against the strongest projectile attack in the game. If they cleanse, they just add more minutes of this power on top. This add-on is incredibly strong, being lethal even with weak Plague players, and extremely strong with Plagues that know what they're doing. And the fun part of this is that these add-ons didn't get a single change for years, with only Black Incense getting a small nerf of 2 seconds and the Iridescent Seal getting a buff, removing the movement speed penalty from it. And those are all the Iridescent add-ons that I consider to be strong and deserving of their status. But let me know if there is one that you love that I didn't mention in this video. As always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.